Recap. Aaron and Helena are lost in a spooky forest and their car starts malfunctioning. Aaron tries to fix the car but can't figure out the problem. Aaron and Helena find themselves relying on each other for support as they try to find their way out of the forest. Chapter 3. Danger and Romance in a Spooky Forest. As they continued to wait for a ride, the air around them kept getting colder. They had been hoping for a vehicle to come by and give them a ride, but as the minutes ticked by, it seemed that their only option was to walk to the other end of the forest. Helena couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. She felt a shiver run down her spine, and she knew that they had to get out of there as soon as possible. Aaron checked the time and said, "I guess we should make a move now," he said, his voice quavering slightly. "We can't stay here. It's not safe." Helena nodded, her eyes still fixed on him. Something about him seemed very comforting to her. "I agree," she said, her voice laced with concern. "We have to find a way out of this forest, and we have to do it fast. We've already driven halfway through. We shouldn't be too far away from the other side." Together, they nodded in accord to keep moving forward. As they walked on the soft and slippery ground beneath their feet, Aaron reached out to take Helena's hand, guiding her around a particularly muddy patch of ground. "Be careful with your footing," he said, his voice low and concerned. "We don't want to risk an injury on top of everything else." Helena nodded, taking Aaron's hand in hers as they continued to walk. She wasn't used to walking so close to a man, at least not without getting her heart broken. Her own thoughts criticized her for feeling attracted toward Aaron. If thoughts could be things, then she couldn't shake the feeling that something was judging them, that unseen eyes from the shadows were watching them. She tried to push the thought to the back of her mind, focusing on putting one foot in front of the other. They walked in silence, the only sound the soft crunch of their footsteps on the forest floor. The forest seemed to close in around them, the darkness and the silence oppressive and unnerving. As they were walking down the deserted road, which felt like almost about an hour, Helena couldn't help but feel a deep sense of exhaustion wash over her. She yawned as she tried to fight off the heavy desire to sleep. "I don't know if I can keep going," Helena said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I'm so tired." Aaron rubbing his eyes, also feeling heavy with sleep. "We can't stop here. We need to make it to the highway." Helena sighed, her shoulders slumping with weariness. "Is this just a physical exhaustion?" she asked, her voice laced with emotion. "I think all the constant disappointment and heartbreak. It feels like every time I open myself up to someone, they end up letting me down." Aaron replied like a comrade. "I understand," he said, his voice full of compassion. "I've been there too, but we can't let that stop us from living our lives and finding happiness. For what I know, we have to keep moving forward, no matter how difficult it may seem." As they walked on, the air around them seemed to grow colder and more oppressive. The darkness seemed to close in around them, and the feeling of dread grew stronger. But they knew they had to keep moving, no matter how tired they were or how afraid they felt. They clung to each other, determined to survive whatever horrors lay ahead. Despite their best efforts, they couldn't shake the feeling of sleepiness that seemed to envelop them. They walked on, their bodies unconsciously drawn towards each other, seeking out each other's warmth and comfort as they fought to keep their eyes open. It was unclear whether it was their exhaustion, the late hour, or something else at play that was causing them to feel so sleepy. All they knew was that they couldn't keep going much longer. Just when they were starting to lose hope, they caught sight of a vehicle in the distance, parked by the side of the road. Excitedly, they quickened their pace, hoping that the driver would offer them a ride to the nearest bus stop. But as Helena bounded towards the car, Aaron slowed to a halt, his eyes wide with shock. Helena turned back to see what was wrong, and as she followed Aaron's gaze, she saw what had him so stunned. It was his car, the one they thought they had left behind. Aaron recognized the car immediately. "It's mine," he exclaimed, his voice laced with confusion. "How did it get here? We left it behind." As he checked his pockets, he realized that he still had his car keys. "I have the keys right here with me," he said, his brow furrowing in confusion. Helena, struggling to keep her eyes open, tried to make sense of the situation. "How is this possible? Are you sure it's your car?" she asked. "Yes, that's my car's license plate number," Aaron replied, his shock evident in his voice. Helena quickly checked her phone for her Uber booking message and saw that the car's number matched the one she had booked. Aaron's next discovery sent chills down their spines. He called out to Helena to double-check if he was hallucinating, but they both saw their own footsteps leading back the way they had come. Helena looked ahead and saw the same slip mark by the car door, the one that happened when she got off the car, with Aaron quick enough to catch her that moment. But now, the mark was ahead of them. Helena was in utter confusion, her eyes unable to open wider in shock, her exhaustion blurring her vision. "This can't be happening," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. She looked at Aaron as he pressed the buttons on his car key, and to her amazement, the car responded. The beep of the car unlocking echoed through the silence of the forest, confirming that it was indeed their car. "How is this possible?" she asked, turning to Aaron with a mix of confusion and fear on her face. It was as if they were trapped in some sort of a supernatural loop, their attempts to escape thwarted at every turn. Back then, she thought it was just her anxiety that made her feel she was being judged or watched, but now, it felt like something was closing on to them from the shadows behind the forest trees. They were so spooked, they couldn't help feeling a sense of desire to hold each other and conform themselves. But since they were just two strangers with no connection with each other, they tried to ignore it, pretending that it was just the cold making them feel this way. As they were drifting off into a deep slumber, they found themselves aware of a faint, ghostly figure, watching over them from a distance, a strange little girl with piercing blue eyes and a sly smile. "Helena, I'm not sure of what I'm seeing. Is there a child over there or just my imagination?" As Aaron and Helena walked down the dark and winding path, they found themselves clinging to each other for safety and security. They had been seeing strange and unexplained things all night, and the appearance of a ghostly little girl named Lily was no exception. At first, they thought she was just a helpless child lost in the forest. They called out to her, hoping to offer their assistance, but as they got closer, they realized that something was off. The girl seemed to flicker in and out of existence, and her eyes were dark and empty, as if she were not really there at all. "Is she?" Helena whispered, her voice trembling with fear. Aaron nodded, his face grim. "I don't think we want to find out," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "We have to get out of here now." As they turned to run, they were suddenly surrounded by a gush of strong wind swirling towards a shadowy figure. Her eyes glowed with an otherworldly light.